Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So we are back again with the Danish Deception. This is part 19. Obviously, if you've not seen part 1 to 18, you need to go watch from part 1 to 18. I made it so it's easy so that there's a playlist. Go check out the playlist. So if you're up to date, let's move
The
on.
Danish Deception, part 19. And I don't want to waste y'all's time, so this part's actually going to cover between January 2025 and July of 2025. Okay, so I call my ex and I'm just so confused. Why did you commit to paying $10,000 for this wedding? I just do not understand. And he said, well, I really just wanted to help your parents out. And now I understand narcissists have this need and desire to be admired. And that's where it came from. It wasn't just him wanting to be a good person. But I was super frustrated and we talked about it, went back and forth. I'm like, we don't have to do this. Like, my parents are very generous. I know they'd be more than happy to pay for the wedding. But he said, no, let's just give them something. Let's give them 10,000. I was like, I just feel like we don't need to do that. He's like, no, let's do it. So I call my mom and my dad and I said, hey, are you guys comfortable with us paying 10,000? And they're like, absolutely, that's fine. We'll cover the rest. And they loved my ex and they were excited for this wedding. And side note, I had communicated to my parents about the business account. So I told them, we're going to end up paying you in July, if that's okay with you, just because we had a bunch of expenses. They didn't know about the payments of crypto and everything, but I just said, hey, we're going to pay you in July. I hope you're okay with that. And they were more than fine with that. And so we put that to rest. I need you guys to remember that 10,000 that was promised to my parents. There's a reason why I'm bringing it up. It's going to come back in the end. So now it's January of 2025. We are in this year, you guys. I promise this is coming to a close tomorrow. So get ready. But it's January 2025. We get the news that his green card has been approved. And we're so excited. And I remember just being over the moon. And one of the biggest reasons why we were excited is because our very, very best friends were getting married in March in Spain. So we were so hyped and excited to go celebrate them. And at first we didn't even know if we could go to the wedding. And so when the petition got approved, it meant that he can travel out of the States. And so we're getting super excited. We weren't just going to Spain. We were also going to go to see his family in Denmark because his little nephew was getting baptized. And then we were also going to go to Portugal for 2 days to look at wedding venues. So this was a very, very exciting trip for us. And before you guys come for me, we were in what I thought was a great financial position and we were up to date on our payments with crypto. So it was okay.
There will never be in any world that you are in a good financial position when you are owing somebody $200,000 and you are running up and about traveling to point A, point B, point C, going for baptism. You are traveling from US to Denmark for baptism. Maybe it's African game, I don't know. Maybe to you guys it makes sense, but it does not make sense.
Pay for us to go on these trips. So we have such an amazing time at the wedding. It was a very small, intimate wedding. There was 30 people there. It was perfect. And afterwards, we went and saw his family, went to his nephew's baptism, spent a lot of time with his extended family too. That was wonderful. And then we went to Portugal to look at venues. And I remember I set up a couple tours and I made sure to be very mindful of cost because obviously I wanted us to be smart and I didn't want us to go over budget. And I remember having a conversation with him, telling him that, listen, I do not want this wedding if it's going to jeopardize your sobriety. So if we need to wait a year, if we want to renew our vows at year 5, we can do that. I do not want this wedding to put any pressure on you. And he said, the business account's going to open up this summer. We're going to be okay. I promise. I don't want you to stress about that. And so I believed him and I trusted him. So we look at a couple different venues and we find one that we really like and it's very reasonably priced. The deposit was only 1,500 euros and he said that his mom was going to actually pay for it. And I said, hey, that's fine. That works perfectly for me. So we get home and he said, I just feel like it doesn't make sense for me to have $60,000 to $70,000 worth of watches. So I think I'm going to sell my watches. And I asked him, are you 100% sure? He said, yes, it's unnecessary, especially with us trying to accomplish all of these financial goals and just having these expensive watches just does not make sense. And so I 100% supported him. And so He packed up the watches in the boxes and then he left the house and came back and was like, okay, I just took them to a showroom. I'm waiting for them to sell. Obviously, I don't have the money yet, but hopefully they'll sell within the next, I don't know, like a couple weeks to a month. And I said, okay, that sounds good. So that was April of 2025. And in May of 2025, we decided that we wanted to build up his credit score so that we could maybe buy a house within the next couple of years. And his credit was basically zero because he had just moved to the States. And so I had a credit card that we had just paid off. It had a zero balance. And so I was like, okay, let's add you on this card. And so we added him, and he had no plans to even really use this card. It was just, you know, for me to use for like groceries. We were just really trying to build up his credit. And so I looked at the balance one day and it was super high and I was so confused. And I started going through the details.
Oh, jeez. At this point, this lady, I don't say what's on my mind. I'm not going to, I don't say anything. Don't say anything.
And I saw that there was a cash advance for $7,000. And I was like, what is going on? Mind you, I'm not home. I had just finished a showing, so I'm in my car about to head home, and I call him and I'm like, what is this cash advance? And I go, you better tell me the truth immediately. I do not want any bullshit. And he comes out and he tells me, I relapsed again. I've been gambling again. And that was the very first time that I just came out and asked him, and he said yes. And keep in mind, his last relapse was October. This was now June.
In her mind, she thinks that's his last relapse, as if the man is making any effort to change. Okay, maybe because she's telling us the story, we are not seeing it in hindsight, so that's why it's easy for us to see. But to her, because she's in love with him, she's delusional about their marriage. Because let's be honest, they didn't even have any good relationship. Talk more of a good marriage. They don't even know themselves. They don't know each other. They are just hopping on planes, traveling.
And so obviously I'm hurt, I'm sad, but I'm also like so grateful that he told me the truth. I remember the first thing that came out of my mouth was thank you so much for telling me the truth, because I just was grateful that he didn't automatically lie about it. So I come home, I'm obviously very upset, but I'm trying to meet him in a peaceful way because he is trying to be honest with me. So I walk into the house and I'm like, tell me everything. And he said, okay, well, I took a salary advance in May and I tried to recoup it. And I actually ended up selling the Rolexes and taking that money and gambling it away.
Of course, I think all of us by this point know that he already sold that watch that day he left the house. But because she's easy to manipulate, he came and sold a lie to her and she easily bought it. At this point, she is the problem. Let's be honest. At this point, she is the problem. She's even giving the guy easy way to even gamble the more, adding into his credit card. Sister, even now, I'm not even in America. I've never lived in America, but I know how harmful that having a credit card can be, because, of course, I grew up in an area where in my culture there's nothing like credit card. You're on your own. Anything you are paying for, you've worked for it. It's your hard-earned money.
And so I took the money from the cash advance to try to win it back, and I haven't spent it yet. I still have some of that, and you guys, this was such a weird experience because I was so angry and hurt that I was still going through this, but this was the first time that he was being open and honest with me, quote unquote. So I was grateful for that. So I told him, I'm like, okay, well, I just have to ask you a question. Is this because the business account doesn't exist? Like, I just don't understand why you would relapse when this money's coming. He goes, babe, like, you just don't understand gambling. Like, it just, sometimes it happens and there's no rhyme or reason. And so I said, okay, I just need to confirm with you again, is this business account exist? He said 100% it exists. And I'm sorry, I promise you, like, this feels different. Like, just being able to like come forward to you, be honest with you. I feel like I really am changing and I want to be better. And this money's going to hit. We're going to have our dream wedding and everything's going to be okay. And so I believe him and I trust him. And then fast forward to July, I ended up having a bachelorette party for one of my good friends, Tracy. And while I'm at the bachelorette party, I knew the date of the hearing with the Danish IRS for his business account to open up. I knew that was going to be while I was on the bachelorette in the middle of July. And so I remember I was on the bachelorette and I woke up early on the second day I was there because I knew that was the day of the hearing. And I get a text from him and he says, call me when you can. And we will pick up the rest in part 20.
Call me when you can. We already know a story is coming up. A story, a story, a story. Because by now all of us already know there's no existence, there's no bank existing anywhere, a business account existing anywhere. We already know that by now. I don't know why she does not know. Well, guys, see you in part 20. Let me show you guys this handcrafted tie and dye shirts. It's so lovely. It's one of my favorite thing. Let me show you another. So this comes in blue and white.